Good day, and this is Hope Channel Namibia. I would like to welcome you to our first episode of our program where we look at the status quo of the Union in Namibia, or issues regarding the status quo of the Union. And to unpack our first episode, I'm today joined by two of our elders. We have Elder Sankwasa Mubita from the Windhoek Central Church, and who also comes as an ESCOM member of the Namibia South Conference, but more mostly as the Namibia Union Organizing Committee Chairperson. Welcome, Elder.
Thank you.
We are also joined by Elder Mbanga Matengu from the Katutura SDA Church. We also would like to welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us this day. Our viewers would like to welcome you to our first episode. I'm Annette, who will be your host for this day. Now, my dear elders, we have been talking as a country, as a church, as a movement of the Adventist movement that we want to become a union. For years, Namibia has been seeking to change its status from being a normal conference to an organized union. My main question will be, what is a union that we are all looking forward to become?
To understand the union, we need to understand the structure of the church. The Adventist Church is organized such that at the lowest level, we have a local church, this which we know where we go to worship. These are organized churches. This is the lowest part. Then after, or a group of churches would form a conference in the Adventist Church as a structure. And a group of conferences forms a union. Then unions forms the divisions of the church. And the divisions are part of the general conference being the highest structure. So when we talk about unions, we are looking at a structure that is between the general conference or the division and the conferences. Maybe I leave it there. I think we'll take it from there.
Now, why is Namibia so interested in becoming a union?
As a member of this movement, it's exciting whenever I think of we will soon be organized into a union. Hopefully it will happen in our time. There are so many benefits that we look at, just let's say local church. In the bigger picture, that we foresee the benefit is to us as a territory to have institutions that we can call our own. We can have a hospital, we can also have schools, we can have a secondary. We are currently stuck with grade 9. Are we going to send our kids we send them to Adventist education, from there we send them to public schools? Is that the idea that we have? I don't think that is the idea. Look at the medical facilities that we have in Namibia. How many medical facilities that belongs to church, where you receive a service, before you receive a service, somebody pray for you. You know, we recognize that healing does not come from medicine, but from God. So it's all these things that we need to combine together. For me, it would make a big difference in terms of just general administration of the church. All over, we are looking at decentralization. So why don't we decentralize the services that are currently at the highest levels? We bring them home. That will basically entails that we'll have more efforts that are focused in terms of our mission. Once we are organized as a union, we'll be able to fund these schools. We'll be able to start up the projects.
Let's look at the governance of certain church entities like AWR, education, you have ADRA. These institutions, at the moment, we have education in the south, we have education in the north. And both of them report to the union in SA. We do not have a uniform way of doing things within the country because we are separated by the fact that we are different entities that report to the third party. ADRA, how is it coordinated? Where should it lie? Where should it report to at the moment? Because ADRA is ADRA Namibia. And where does it report? It starts to report to entities that does not exist. You know, a union kind of interconference thing. Yes. So we need to have that in place to manage the affairs within the territory of Namibia. If we want to look, our interest here would, for example, be to open a field in north central Namibia. That for us is a priority. But that will not be the priority to SAU, because they have really a very big, vast territory to cover in terms of, because SAU covers Namibia, South Africa, Lesotho, and Swaziland. That's a vast territory. So for them to give this interest in this small part where we want to go and evangelize more, it might not be. So for us to organize, because as a union, we will be able to organize the field. At the moment, it needs to be organized through SAU. And given their full schedule, it's something that might happen in 10, 20 years from now. But given our territory, we understand our territory better, we'll be able to do a better job in terms of organizing these entities as we want them. So there are so many, I think, benefits. It has been alluded to that Namibia has no tertiary institution. This is our desire. A tertiary institution can only, according to our church policies, can only belong to a union. Your churches can have primary schools, and your conference can have a secondary school, and the higher institution can belong to the union. To the union. And not that we are not contributing to it, by the way. We do contribute to higher education through the form of Helderberg, through the form of Maluti. Yet, as a country, we do not benefit because we do not have students at Helderberg. We would want these benefits to trickle down to the membership. Now, for example, under SAU, we are with SAU for 36 years. And yet, within that 36 years, there is no educational entity to which we can fund through combined or through SAU. So we would want to channel these funds as well to establish educational institution, to establish our clinics and stuff, just like we are funding the Swazi Eye Clinic through SAU.
Profound. Now that you have briefly alluded to some of the things that we can enjoy being a union, what are the requirements to become a union or to be organized as a union?
I think on top of the list is you need to have conferences. That would make you qualify to become a union. And in this case, Namibia has two conferences, the Namibia South and Namibia North conferences. You need to have your financials in order. And that was one of the issues that we have been battling with to becoming a union. At the moment, we do believe that all the criteria of becoming a union we have met.
Now, my next question will be, is Namibia ready to become a union?
Thank you so much. Look, I believe we are ready. We are ready to become a union. And as far as I see the constituencies on the ground, the excitement is there, and there is nothing really that would hinder us or would maybe think we will not succeed in two. We have been, for the last how many years, we have been going through the union requirements, one of them being finances. And that we have ticked all those successfully through the audits that we have to go through. So we do not think as a country we should be worried, or as conferences that we should be worried that we do not have the capacity. We have the capacities. We have the resources. We are going to succeed. Should we not succeed, we will learn and succeed again. So success is guaranteed. The resources we have, both human capital and also financial capacity, we will be able to succeed. It's just a matter of now that we believe the Southern African Union should be willing to give us, just to let us go say, look, we have had you as a child, you must now go on, and they should celebrate us going on our own. Of course, we will always remember them. They have been a good parent to us. But I think time have come that we as a child, we have outgrown. We can no longer be within the full purview of our parent. It's about time we stand alone. We will succeed.
Elder, as you come in, I would want us, it's still the same question. He mentioned that, I like the scenario he just narrated now, as a parent and as a child, there comes a time where you need to leave your parents' home to say, it's okay, I think I can be on my own, I can stand on my 2 feet. And this is what Namibia is crying for now. We have heard that we have received a clear report. Financially, the audit that has come out is clear, it's a good one. But what is still holding us? Because we understand by 2025 we're supposed to receive this status as a union. What is holding us back?
Thank you. Let me start it from the point of readiness. Adventism started in Namibia in 1920. So this year is 105 years. And we were then organized as a field, the first field, in 1954. And from 1954 until 2012, we operated as a field. And the conference was organized in 2012. And in 2016, the Namibia conference then was realigned into 2 conferences, that is Namibia North and Namibia South conferences. That shows the growth that have gone. And in terms of Adventism, it's not a fly-by-night. We have been here for long. And to say any argument to say we are not ready when we are 105 years in existence in the country, I think that is yes. And we started with all other countries. Mind you, South Africa was more of the springboard where Adventism started, and we're proud of that. That even Zambezi Union started from, which is in Zimbabwe, started from or was part of South Africa, Botswana, Lesotho, and ourselves. And the others have moved forward. Zimbabwe had 4 unions now. And Botswana has its union. We are the only one that still have conferences. So that's to say. But then let's talk about in terms of all other requirements, as I indicated, we are ready as a country or as a territory to become a union. What has been holding us now is the fact that Namibia, both the conferences, owes the SAU some, what do we call it, trust funds. And let me explain when we say trust funds. What this means is that largely due to COVID, I'm not saying entirely, but due to COVID and its aftermath, there was a time when churches were closed, there was no funds coming, and therefore the funds that were being remitted were used at a conference level to pay the salaries of pastors and church workers. And therefore there was not enough to pay the share of the union over the years which we were affected. And even after that, the recovery was low. And as a result, a debt was accumulated on the portion that the Namibia conferences should have submitted to SAU. Now, I think the proposition to us was, we understand there is this, and the proposition was, can we pay you over time, that we pay off this debt over time? And this is what, at the moment, SAU is not agreeing to. That, no, first you have to pay, and then we give you the union. And I stand personally as well very different to that, because now we start to seem as if we want to make a church a shop, that you can go in and pay, then you give your union. The vision of the church is evangelism. We are supposed to be focused on the growth of the church. If the church is growing, we need to be able to do everything else to make sure the church grows. But now, our own other interests should always be secondary. The interest of money. Yes, we will pay, we still agree to do this, but it should not be the main thing. We have a problem when money becomes central to the church, that without money, there's no growth to mission. Then we start questioning, what is our purpose? Is it to be a business, or is it to continue evangelizing? If we had established for evangelism, which we were as a church, we are supposed to look at the evangelism, then stay here until Christ comes, and then what prevented us from moving was money. That is unfortunate. I should also make it very clear. Sometimes when we say the church has done this or is doing that, it is not the church. The church sometimes is a shell. It's the people that are there that take decisions. Unfortunately, when you're a leader, when you take a decision, it seems as if the decision that you've been taken is for the church. But it's the weakness. If I have a weakness and I'm a leader, my weakness becomes the weakness of the church. And as a result, we will always blame the church. The church's interest and goal is to get out there and evangelize and take the gospel to the ends of the world. But now, unfortunately, it's very unfortunate that we need to be stuck because of money.
Thank you so much, Elder. Before I give to Elder Mbanga, is there no way they can find it in the hearts to say we can overlook this because it was something that we never expected? It was COVID. It hit everyone bad. Maybe we can write this debt off.
What they say is that writing off is off the table. It's not under discussion. The writing off. I think that's not on the table. What was on the table was the issue of can we pay you over time? That too, they do not agree with. That they cannot organize an entity that's already in debt, that has debts. But it's us committing. Now, I think the issue, I'll take you there. The issue is this. When we say now, you cannot, we have to pay, where does that money come from? That you have to pay those millions. Where does it come from? One, it means that people have to go and fundraise. Church operates on tithe and offerings. That's the system of church. But when you tell us that bring this money, you are simply saying go and fundraise. People should give you money that will bring here. That is not part of the trust funds in actual sense. It's something that you now go and, because people on the ground do not owe the union any money or the higher organization any money. They have given the money, but the conference, due to circumstances, have used that money for salaries. So it's not only people, but now when it comes to where do we get the money, now the conferences now has to go to the ground, to the people to fundraise. Namibia at this point in time, as a territory, what we need is to fundraise for our building of our union, to fundraise for evangelism, but to fundraise for a debt, it's retrogressive. Some have suggested that, can you then sell your properties? We might have fewer properties, but you see, that impoverishes the union, the new union, to the extent that it now has nothing. You organize it, but it has nothing. Why would you think that? Why is even the capitalists, the shops that you have around here, they agreed to please pay me according to how you can. But when the church says cash and carry, it's really surprising, because that's not our mission. The mission of these others is to make money, but our mission is evangelism. And therefore, it is unfortunately, very unfortunate, that leaders, and what makes matters worse is, these leaders, when we talk about leaders, these are not lay people. These are now pastors. Pastors in their boardrooms, they sit and say, we are not going to grant you union status. They are function, they are ordained for service, but the ordained ones now are the one that seems to fight with the people on the ground to say, they are demanding that give us growth. They are ordained one and say, no, we're not giving you unless you bring money. That is very unfortunate. So in terms of readiness, we are ready. We are still going to plead with them to see what they can do about it. But we are committed to ensure that we have a union for us to be able to advance the gospel within the territory of Namibia.
Thank you. Now,
thank you so much for the opportunity. Look, it's quite interesting, the issue of the debt. I, as an ordinary member, I would have been more concerned if this debt arose out of misappropriation. But it arose out of matters beyond the control of the conference. And as a member, I sympathize with my conference. And I would sympathize with anyone in that situation that this date did not arise as a result of poor decision making, but it arose out of necessities. I'm very happy and excited that our conference went through COVID without retrenching a single staff, because retrenchment would have sent us miles backwards, 3 steps backwards. So it's excitement that the conference, despite it going through COVID, with the lockdowns and so forth, the closing of the church, no funds, but they still managed to come through. Look, when you speak about finances, so the issue of the debt here is not about Namibia is not financially ready, because the annual financial statement said they are clean. Basically means we have the financial muscles to fund ourselves. It is unfortunate we have a debt, because the auditors would not have given us a clean audit if we were somehow not an ongoing concern, if our finances were not, if we were operating in a negative. But this is a debt, which I believe it should be ring-fenced. And as a debt itself, just as a debt, look, to organize Namibia into a union, do you know what? In my view now, this is now my view as a layperson. If we are organized as a union, it does not mean the 2 conferences cease to exist. I think that should be very clear. The 2 conferences will continue to be there. So the arrangement must be made now with the union and the 2 conferences in Namibia that we are going to pay. Give us time. And I do not believe even in this date. We have been with the union since 1991. For 34 years, we've been with the union. Why should we be forced to pay this date now within how many months before we? I still believe, and this is my position, that there could be some legal mechanisms that we should work around with the union just to secure their debt. And for us as the unions, for us as the conferences, to acknowledge our liability towards them, that we agree, we are owing you this much, and we commit that a fair period should be given to us. For me, a reasonable period could be up to 10 years. We have been with a parent for the last 34 years. Why can't they indulge us just to say this debt can be ring-fenced and you'll be paying us in installments? We are not a fly-by-night that once we are organized into a union, we will cease to exist ever again. We will never cease to exist. Above all, when Namibia is organized as a union, we will still be reporting the same division. We are not moving to another division elsewhere in Southern America. We are reporting to the same division where they report. So we can still be held accountable through that. So I do not believe, and I very much don't believe that a debt should be an issue. It is okay. We can start as we can move. We can be organized as a union, and then the date remain with the conferences, and the conferences will make sure that is settled. It is always different, especially in law. If the Namibia Conference and the Namibia South and Namibia North were to be merged to form one entity, that is different. But here we have a higher body that will be overseeing the conferences. Conferences are not disappearing. So the fact that conferences are not disappearing, they still have their legal capacity. They will still continue to exist. So we must never be held hostage because of this debt. We are now being said, without you paying this debt, we will never. No, like my elder here has indicated, we should never put anything else above mission. The church exists for mission. In fact, if the union is to be honest, the Southern Africa Union, if it's to be honest with itself, we say, look, because you guys have been organized as a union now, we are going to write off this debt. It is possible. In as much as they say it's not a consideration, there is nothing. If they had a mission in Namibia, it had. That is where now it even becomes a concern. Do these pastors who make such decisions at union level, current union level, do they have the interest of the Namibian people at heart? And when I say the Namibian people, the Namibian membership here, because we as members, we are interested in proclaiming the gospel to all 4 corners of Namibia, so that Christ may come. If Christ's coming is being delayed because in Namibia the gospel has not reached all the corners, we want to do that. But we must never sell mission over finances. Finances might come, but mission is being delayed for the next how many years? That should have never been taken by pastors, and especially as people who are charged with this. I would understand. A finance person could argue that because they do not understand the bigger picture why the church exists. But anybody who has gone through the theology of the church, who understands that it's go ye therefore, that is the mission. These others are just the things that must make it easier for us. They are just part of the structures. So I very much believe that a debt should never be. There are other legal mechanisms that can be put in place. And then we are organized into a union. I'm very happy that all the requirements we have complied with. Except now the popcorn, now that just popped now. We will not allow that. We should really not allow that. Because they never foresaw that even themselves.
Thank you.
But it's popping out now.
Thank you. Elder Mbita, maybe just also an addition. We want to be organized as a union. Are you ready to start fundraising? Because it's COD, cash on delivery.
No, not now. We are ready to negotiate with the union to pay the debts at the terms agreed between the two entities, and also as we are organized, there is monies that they are supposed to give us as part of the organizing of, yes, and we can offset that to say, look, we were supposed to give you 10 million, and because you owe us 2 million. We'll only give you 8 million. Maybe just to put things in context, one might have the idea that it's only Namibia that's owing. You understand? We have bigger conferences in SAU that are owing over 40 million. Namibia is owing the two conferences 4 million and 5 million, so around 9 million for the two conferences. We have that are owing close to or over 40 million. As a conference alone, and there's no pressure that's being put on them that pay. They are paying or submitting their own terms. But this now has become a whip to Namibia that because you want to become a union, you have to pay is of now. We are ready to be organized in August this year. We are ready to be organized in August this year. And they have a slot that they have left. But now they are giving a condition that we can organize in August, but pay the money.
We would like to thank you. If you have just joined us, you're watching Hope Channel Namibia. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
Hope Channel Namibia is an initiative of the Seventh Day Adventist Church in Namibia in partnership with Hope Channel International. It is a channel licensed to broadcast in Namibia. And of recent, we have acquired a building where we have assembled together a very wonderful studio. It's a baby studio just to help us to start so that we can be able to start broadcasting lifestyle programs that appeal to the hearts of the viewers. Lifestyle programs that speaks to your families and that prepares our viewers for the soon return of our Lord Jesus Christ. We are facing some challenges though, and that's where we need your help so that the money that you give to Hope Channel Namibia is going to help us so that we can be able to purchase equipment to help us to broadcast the everlasting gospel to this country. We need money to buy cameras. We need money to purchase broadcasting equipments around here so that we can be able to bring to you quality programs of choice. And of course, we need this channel to be put on satellite so that we can be able to broadcast, to many people around the country. And we have been in negotiation with NBC so that we can put this program, this channel on NBC decoder. But that requires money. We need your support. Please come through and help Hope Channel Namibia grow its feet in this country.
Hope Channel Namibia, bringing hope to thousands.
Be part of this mission of AWR Namibia by contributing to the I Will Go Fund mission project. Your contribution could be through a monthly giving of 20, 50, 100 or 200 Namibian dollars. This will help AWR Namibia to overcome financial challenges, to pay for volunteers, build network towers, and start new stations in unentered places. Jesus is coming soon. For AWR Namibia, I am Oprah Simvola. Maranatha.
Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, you are busy watching Hope Channel Namibia. We are busy discussing the status quo of the Union in Namibia. And I'm busy talking to Elder Sankwasa Mubita and also Elder Mbanga Matengu. Before we went on our break, we were looking at the question, are we ready to raise these funds with 4 months to go before we become a union or being organized as a union? Are we ready to raise these funds, Elder Mubita?
Let me take it from there. Generally, we are not. The reason is to raise the 9 million between now and August is not practical. It's not as if we will stop to remit every month the trust funds. From now on, we continue. So this is a debt that needs to be paid to raise it. And I do not agree to raising the money because you're going to an elderly lady down there in the rural areas, Chicago. From what she pays, what she returns as tithe, we are going to her and say, no, give us more. It's not like they owe the conference or SAU money. They don't. I think let's have that clear. It's fundraising to pay the debt, and we have to go back the members. This is not fair. What should be done is to have an agreement. That let's have an agreement over time of the trust fund that we are going to receive. Out of that, of what Namibia should remain with, we will continue to take out of that and remit again until when that debt is paid off. I think it's reasonable that we do that. Even if, in fact, what it means is, if we agree as a church that we are going to fundraise and then we have the union, it's as good as saying no union status for Namibia because we cannot afford it in the period that's given. I agree with colleagues. I think we're talking in the break or during break that even if you give us a year to pay 9 million, it's still not enough time. We want a little bit of a longer period, 4 or 5 years, for us to be able to settle that debt. And that should not stop the work of God. That's the position. So they just need to be a flexibility and understanding from the higher organization that this, for us, is the only way out that we see. We did not bring COVID ourselves. We cannot be punished for COVID. No one should be punished for it. And not, if we want to make everybody pay, tell every organization to pay. Those that owes 40 million, tell them pay now, so that we seem to be treated fairly like any other. At the moment, it's only a whip that is being used against Namibia, and it cannot continue like that. No, it's just not acceptable.
Yeah.
Are you ready to respond?
Yes. No, look, for me, raising funds should not be an option. Should not be an option. That should stand in our way. If I can just take us back, how did this debt arise? This debt did not arise within 4 months. It arose over a period of time. We know how long COVID visited us. COVID visited us over a very longer period that even the consequences were to be felt even after. And it's not only unique to Namibia or to the SDHH. There are so many other corporates outside there that experience went through COVID. So the recovery can never be expected within a month. So raising funds, whether that was to be considered or not, it would still be impractical, but in my view, should never be the option. Anyways, as the conferences, south here, I don't think they are saying they cannot afford, so that we must raise funds. They are saying, just give us time. Give us time, we are going to service this debt. A debt for me is just a debt. Nobody, anyways, will ever be arrested because of a debt. A debt just needs to be serviced over a period of time. It's just a matter of us and our current parent to understand one another and say, look, go on your own, but remember you need to service this. We are concerned with the mission. I would assume they are also supposed to be concerned. They are supposed to be, but they are not concerned with mission here. A debt should be serviced over a period of time. Give us even 5 years to recover from this. We are going to pay it until we have settled it all. I believe that is a fair one. Unless the union is saying they are now in a deficit that they are about to bankrupt also. I don't think they are relying on this. We continue to remit our trust. And since we have recovered, we are doing it so consistently. Or maybe the union should tell us, stop with the trust and then focus on that. That could be a different discussions. But as far as I'm concerned, raising funds should never be something that should be considered at all. Let us consider agreeing to terms. A term loan, let's spread it over a period of time, agreed installments, reasonable to their side and also to our side, and then we move on.
Maybe just to add, supplement something very small.
Please.
We asked, where is it in our policies where it says if you owe trust funds, you cannot be organized? It's unfortunate to say. The answer was actually a threat. The answer that came was not to quote from the policy what the provision within the policy that says you owe no organization. Rather, the answer was we are the one that organizes, or the higher organization is the one that organizes the lower organization. Meaning, listen to us. There is nothing you can do. You do what we say. That coming from a pastor, for me was very disappointing. To say, how can you, I'm asking a genuine question, that you are telling me this is now the obstacle. Give me the provisions within the policy that says, which policy are you applying here? You tell me, or when you quote where it says that the entity that organizes the lower structure is that of the higher organization. But what has that to do with my question? That is unfortunate that we try to show muscles. When we ask question, we are shown some flexing of muscles to say, remember, the message was, remember, we are the one that organizes you. So without us, you're going nowhere.
Now, with that response, Elder Mbita, would you say that there's other ulterior motives behind holding back the status quo for Namibia to become a union?
My view is, even if it's not by design, there is. One thing we should know is this. The decision making within SAU is with the higher structure. Let me take you back. SAU, the Southern Africa Union, was organized in 1991. I will not talk about its predecessors. I'll leave that part for now. Let's talk about the entity that exists now. Was organized in 1991. From then on, we had almost 7 terms. Who are the leaders? The presidents from the very first to the current of SAU, despite it being a multinational entity, all the presidents, all of them without exception, they have been South Africans. All executive secretaries, without exception, they have been South Africans. All chief financial officers, without exception, they have been South African, except the period that Sister Mavis acted when the other one retired, a very short time, and when I think it was a year. And other than that, they are all South African. They harbor the same interests. Should SAU have been open to leadership for others, probably the thinking will be different. But now SAU is more concerned about South Africa. When you are South African, by nature, unintended, you have interest of South Africa at heart. That's why they don't think about establishing an entity in Namibia. That's my opinion. They will not establish an entity when they have interest in South Africa itself. So, therefore, whether intended or unintended, for me, there is biasness against the entity of Namibia. They should have looked at it. They should have been more inclusive in their management or in the elections. But you know, I've been there when they elect officers. I've been there. They don't give anything about Namibia to say we will consider you for what, even to be not president, but to be executive secretary. That is not on the cards. It has got to know. They have got no thinking of such a thing. Therefore, the self-interest, I think it might not be intended, but it defeats the whole process. We should have had a diversity that reflects the constituency of Southern Africa. But as it is now, it's totally not like that. And unfortunately, this is a church. In a church where you are not considering, where we are taught, love your brother like yourself. But this brother now, you stay in power for over 30-something years, and you don't share it with anybody. It's yours. That, for me, is a weakness within the system, that it has created itself, that they will always be in power. We can go for another 30 years, they will still, because in terms of voting, in terms of numbers, they do have the numbers. Therefore, them having Namibia at heart, I should maybe pause and commend some of the leaders. We had Dr. Takisoli Said, who helped us become a conference, and even towards the 2 conferences. Dr. Ali Said really had the interest at heart. And within the period that was there, we could see change because he had the current one. You know, we made the application in 2018, the application for union in 2018, with the dispensation, the previous dispensations of Dr. As the president, Dr. David Spencer. It ended without any union in sight. We started with the dispensation of Dr. Paul Shongwe as the president of the union. It's going towards its end as well. And we do not have it in sight that Namibia Union is realized. And when we change, the new leader have got no urgency of Namibia Union. They have their own stories to sort out. And therefore, it is important. It might not be, to answer yourself, I mean, it might not be necessarily so that they want to. But remember, it took us 54 years from the time we were filled to become a conference. We took 58 years. That's how long it took us to become and many reasons we advanced. It tells one thing. The interest to push that agenda was lacking. When the new dispensation came, the new leaders came on board, they were really pushing the agenda. But now, the sudden somersaulting and saying that you need to pay the thing. And we're working together. We said we needed a clean audits for both conferences. And that was the thing. And we worked ourselves out that we got that. But after getting it, now all of a sudden, there's a new trick that's coming. You owe. We tell them, can we talk about it? They say no. And now what? Now where's the interest? Namibia's interest. I miss Namibia's interest.
If everything has been given, it's a clean report and everything, is there any loss for SAU should Namibia become a union today? Are they losing anything where they're not supposed to be celebrating?
No, thank you so much. Maybe let me just build on what he had actually also indicated. Look, the absence of policy on the issue of debt. Policy does not expressly say if there is a date, you will not be organized. So there is no such a prohibition in the policy that we could have known already, even with them as a parent. That basically makes me to ask, as a lay member of this church, of this movement, I ask myself, is the union actually not acting outside their mandate, outside the authority? Because in law, there is something that they call ultravirus, which is outside your powers. You are bringing in something that is not supposed to be brought in here. So that is now a concern. Why should do this if it's not part of policy? If the division or the union have seen that this is a requirement that needs to be ticked off and cleared before, this was supposed to be part of the working policy, so that anybody who is applying to be organized as a union, they are already aware of these requirements, and it makes them also easier to comply. It makes we wouldn't be having these discussions because it's a requirement. We have never had issues with the audit. We have always worked towards that until we got it right. So because policy does not make it a requirement, why should you bring it now? It's basically you actually raise doubts in the minds of the people that, do you have the interest of these people that you want to organize? For me, that's where now I think the union might be seeing that they are losing something here. And friends, let's just be honest. The trust fund that we remit, that's a loss. It will not be remitted to South once Namibia is organized. So is that not something that should be considered that it's a loss to them? Because no matter how small, whether they say it's a drop in an ocean, any drop in the ocean, it will always leave something there. So it makes a difference. So the union could be conflicted here. That's why they are putting the financial part of it ahead of mission. If it was just to be a pure mission issue here, we wouldn't be sitting at this. So I'm foreseeing the union might be losing, they might be concerned about losing revenue. Trust is revenue, and we cannot take it. We cannot overemphasize it. There is revenue that is going to be lost once we are organized into a union. Unfortunately, that just have to be that. But the best part of it, if I was the union, I would be saying, at least my daughter, they will not be able to worry about Namibia once we are organized into a union. We'll be meeting at the divisions. So we'll still continue. We'll still be now. The only unfortunate part of it is we'll all be on the same level. But we will not be concerned about the administrative burden of Namibia. Here in Namibia about this report coming from Namibia. They are even receiving reports from parts of Namibia that they have no clue of where this part is. They will be asking. They know Windhoek, yes, because this is where the capital city. That's all they know. But the other parts of Namibia, they will have no clue. So for me, I see that the loss in terms of revenues might be working on the decision makers. This has nothing to do with anything else. It just has to do with the decision makers. Make a recommendation. Just tell us we have met with the requirements. We move forward. But the decision maker is conflicted, unfortunately, in these situations. That's why, as a layperson, one would ask, what could be our remedy here now as two conferences? Should we limit ourselves to SAU only? No, we can't. This guy has an interest here. Anyways, if we were owing a debt to another body, then the union says, look, we cannot do that because you are owing that. But here we are owing the same guy who must take a decision. The guy is conflicted on that point alone. He is conflicted. He is conflicted because he's just interested in his own. If the division was to come in and then maybe make a pronouncement and says, look, this is how best it could be addressed, because they are more of a neutral. But in this case, the decision maker is conflicted both in losing revenue through trust that is being remitted. Number two, they are now creating some uncertainty, doubts in their own minds. Maybe these guys will not pay us. That's also a consideration in saying they are conflicted. So they really stand to lose.
Thank you so much. Now, Elder Mbita, with 4 months to go, we're supposed to be organized as a union. Should we not make it as a union? How many more years should we wait to become a union? And are you ready?
Okay. The first place, I'm still positive that our leaders will learn in a short space of time that it is not really their standing to block the work of God. They need to humble themselves and know that there are a lot of things that we have tolerated. One of them is, you see, we have a division. Namibia have never even had a clean ID division. Never from existence. We do have our leaders in the division, people from Zimbabwe, Zambia, South Africa, Lesotho have been there, and not Namibia. Because at the table of the division, where countries are sitting, Namibia has no space.
Not represented.
No, they are being represented by South Africa on that table, and that the problem is they don't see it. They don't see it's a problem. they just think, and because there is no voice, they take it that it's okay and that's how it's supposed to be. There are times when you get used to unfairness, fairness becomes a problem. It becomes wrong. Because if we were to ask for fairness, they would think we are rebellious just to ask to be treated equal to all the other states, because we are a sovereign state. And at times, sitting in those meetings, I feel leaders undermines our sovereignty. They make it trivial. They make it as if it's nothing. Yet, we are a sovereign state. These things we keep on talking on brotherly level to say, look, let's do this, let's do this. But on the other side, they feel if you demand or if you ask that we want to be a sovereign state, having a union, at least managing our own affairs, they would have an inclination to think there are people that are radical, they are, and it's because they are used to Namibia especially being very subservient, not speaking. At any platform, you take them there on the table, they will sit, they'll keep quiet, and you'll take the decision and they'll get out. And they are fine with you being the head. We are like a grandchild among SADC countries. When we sit at the table, we don't qualify to be on the table because we are represented by the parent, South Africa. And they are very happy to represent us for all these years that SID has been there. So therefore, it tells that as if there is no leadership in Namibia. There is no one qualifying.
Not capable.
Not capable. There is no one that can go to SID. Nothing. They can only be the best for us. And that's unfortunate when you look at things like that. The relationship is that of, or is similar to that of a colony. That whatever you say, there's nothing you can do anyway, because all the powers are with me. Once I have all the powers, you can sit, you can shout, you can do whatever. There's nothing you can do. We are, unfortunately in this case, these are brothers. And they are blacks, like me. The blacks, when they colonize others, they no longer realize that I have colonizing others. If this matter was between white and black, it would have exploded. That the whites are colonizing us. But just because they are brothers, they think now the Namibian territory is ours and we can do whatever we want with it. It is time that our brethren get the message that it is time to let Namibia go. Let it also be like them. All we are asking not to be above them, we are asking, can we be like you? We want to be a union. Don't treat us like we are subservient to you as a territory. We are a big territory, a sovereign nation. But we are being treated as one of their conferences out there. We should be, if we could speak, probably we could have had this before, but they need to understand that it's really not in their space to colonize us.
Maybe just to add on that. Look, especially the part of sovereignty, I think that's where we have really taken it for granted. Namibia, the background that we have here, Namibia been colonized by South Africa as a country. Just as a country, politically, yes. As a country, up to 1990. And we remember it did not come with a silver platter. Now, for the next 34 years, after politically, the country is free. But the Advent movement still subject itself to the same person who politically colonized the country, where the Advent movement is. That is very unfortunate, and that is something that we should not even take very light, brothers. We should never take that very light. Enough is enough. And this could be one of those points, because we have met all the requirements the parent have set for us. The parent no longer has discretion here. The parent have forfeited their discretion by allowing us, by telling us their requirements. And here we are, as a sovereign state on the other side. Why should we be subjecting ourselves to this? We will never be taken serious anyways, whether it's at the division or anywhere else, because we are seen as we are South Africans. Yet the South Africans do not have our interest. Anyways, if all these unions are to meet, they will not recognize us simply because we are. In fact, Namibia does not exist as a country in the Adventist. We exist as South Africa. So we are just a territory of South Africa. Can we allow that? where we have gone through all the requirements, legal requirements that we all knew from the start. We have complied. I think it's about high time that our leaders, especially now this goes to our conferences, it's about time we look at other measures that the rule book will not be able to save us. Let's look at other means. We need to explore others, which could also be punitive on our parent. It's unfortunate the parent has to go through that, but this situation seems to be, it's necessary to also take some punitive measures against our own. Let us be treated as a rebellious child, but at least we will reconcile. We will not be forever be rebellious, but we will reconcile. But it's about high time. Our sovereignty, political sovereignty, is also respected, even in the Adventist space.
Can I just add something on his point? When we talk about the issues of leadership, in Namibia, now I'm talking that within the territory of Namibia, we have had around 22 presidents of the field and our conferences. 22. Of these 22, 16 have been South Africans. Only 8, is it 8, 6? 6, I think, have been Namibians. And when you talk about the Namibianization of the church, let it be, then you are seen like you are not. Where else do you have such a situation like Namibia where 80% of your leaders have been South Africa in the territory? I'm not talking about South Africa. I talked about South Africa, but now in Namibia, 80% have been South Africans. Yet when you speak, to say no, but can we treat each other the same here? You would be considered rebellion. But let's look at SA, it's South Africa itself, with its all its 4 conferences. We have the KwaZulu-Natal Free State Conference. We have the TOC, Trans-Orange Conference. We have the Cape Conference, and we have the Northern Conference. All of them, from inception, none had a foreign president. None. 0 from inception. We are not being political. I know this game is being used. When you speak the way we speak, the people will think you are bringing politics in church. But the problem is, some people do not bring politics as talking. They do it. Yes. When you speak about it, they say, yeah, you are speaking. You are the one that's bringing politics. Secondly, there are times when to be a good Christian, you need to be stupid. There is a very thin line that if you don't accept being stupid at some point in your Christian life, then you are not a very good Christian. You have to exercise a certain level of stupidity to accept things that are not acceptable. Then you will seem to be holy. Holiness and foolishness are very different. And we need to put a line that this is where holiness ends, and beyond this is foolishness. We can't tolerate this. So until we get to the point, but people are, some of them, including people within our territory, that has come to believe that the way things are, that's the way things are supposed to be. It's okay. It's okay. It should be like that. But it doesn't need to be like that. You see, there are some, even in our church, that do not believe in the liberation struggle. But now they are very happy that the country is free. But when they were in their church, they thought, no, please, no fighting, no nothing. This one is not. But now they are the first one to say we are independent. Now we are free. Now, who do you want to speak for you? That we need a union. We need to stand on our own. We need to influence what happens within the territory. Here, we need influence. If we want to say we want to have a field in the coastal areas, we need to be able to talk to each other. That we need to start a field in the coastal area. That's where our interest is. At the moment, we need to go to SAU. And even if this small thing, these things that we're talking about is a challenge, how long will it take you to organize a field in the coast or in the north? It will take you a very long time because their interest is not there. We need the union here for us to dictate the pace at which we develop mission. As Namibians. And Namibians. People do not understand the dynamics of Namibia, the various ethnic groupings, and how Adventism is represented or evangelizing to all the others. They don't know. They have a different setup. So it's only us that knows and that need to take these decisions here, how to do things. No one will do it for us. And all we are saying is, bring the decisions. We do it here. We take decisions here.
You run your own affairs here back home. If you have just joined us, you're watching Hope Channel Namibia. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
Hope Channel Namibia is an initiative of the Seventh Day Adventist Church in Namibia in partnership with Hope Channel International. It is a channel licensed to broadcast in Namibia. And of recent, we have acquired a building where we have assembled together a very wonderful studio. It's a baby studio just to help us to start so that we can be able to start broadcasting lifestyle programs that appeal to the hearts of the viewers. Lifestyle programs that speaks to your families and that prepares our viewers for the soon return of our Lord Jesus Christ. We are facing some challenges though, and that's where we need your help so that the money that you give to Hope Channel Namibia is going to help us so that we can be able to purchase equipment to help us to broadcast the everlasting gospel to this country. We need money to buy cameras. We need money to purchase broadcasting equipments around here so that we can be able to bring to you quality programs of choice. And of course, we need this channel to be put on satellite so that we can be able to broadcast, to many people around the country. And we have been in negotiation with NBC so that we can put this program, this channel on NBC decoder. But that requires money. We need your support. Please come through and help Hope Channel Namibia grow its feet in this country.
Hope Channel Namibia, bringing hope to thousands.
Be part of this mission of AWR Namibia by contributing to the I Will Go Fund Mission Project. Your contribution could be through a monthly giving of 20, 50, 100 or 200 Namibian dollars. This will help AWR Namibia to overcome financial challenges, to pay for volunteers, build network towers, and start new stations in unentered places. Jesus is coming soon. For AWR Namibia, I am Oprah Simvola. Maranatha.
Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, you are busy watching Hope Channel Namibia. Maybe my next question as we move towards wrapping up the discussion will be, you have mentioned that there were meetings have been held, discussions have been held between SAU and Namibia conferences. But it seems like we have reached a loggerhead. No pay, no union status. What is the way forward?
I give it to my brother before I come in.
What is the way forward?
No, thank you so much. Look, when we discuss about the union status in Namibia, let us have on the back of our mind that our population is not the same as it was in 1991. Our population has now grown as a country, sovereign state. It's now 3 million. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine how many people we need to reach out? That's why we need administration to be very closer to the people, more than ever. Before we had very few people. We had less than 2 million. At some point, we had about 1.6. We have now grown up to 3 million as a country. That really shows the opportunities that evangelism needs to go. The mission field has actually expanded by having so many people. So I think as a church, we need to appreciate that. And our parents also need to appreciate that territory that we always have as one of us, that territory, their population has expanded since 1990. Mm-hmm. Coming down to where what should we really do? Look, for me, as a lay person, fortunately, I'm not in the church structures at conference and so forth. But look, should that be the deadlock? Should we hit a deadlock? Mm-hmm. One of the proposals I had is we need to seek audience with the higher organization, and now the higher organization should be the division. And the division, the audience that we need to seek with the division, it should not be the union that is organizing for us. The union goes to the division and they come back with feedback. They provide us with feedback. No. Let us go and cry for ourselves. And we must do this as a matter of time. If we are speaking about August, we must do this as a matter of time. We must engage. I know maybe church protocols will say we cannot access the division. We must go through the union. But it's about high time in terms of our structures that we go through. We say, look, this guy, if need be, we will copy them in. But we are going to cry to the higher body. That higher body needs to be aware of our case. And our case is this. We will not budge. Whatsoever comes from the higher body, then we sit down. But it should be done even before end of May. That way we engage the higher body. Overall, as a member, I will just say, look, the best is let us just stop remitting, because the issue here is the remittance of trust. Let's just continue on not remit again. Because this debt did not arise from anything else. We are not going to say, let us commit fraud. No, we are just saying, let's just stop remitting of this, and then we just keep it there. We continue to run our affairs here. Fortunately, our pastor salaries are not paid from SAU. They are paid from here. Majority of our expenses, they are taken care by us here at the conferences. Why should we beg when we have complied? This is a case of an injustice. It's only that it's unfortunate in the court, in the church systems, we do not resort to court to have such decision to be reviewed, because this is a decision, a very good case to take on review, administrative review. It's totally a case that the decision maker has no basis. It was not supposed to be taken to start with. So that is, unfortunately, that is the road that we cannot take. But I'm foreseeing that as a conference, our pastors will need to be strong and come back to us as constituencies, as churches. If need be, we can now decide as churches. We say, look, what is the best here? The best is just to detach ourselves from that guy, and we see whatever the decisions will be. Thank you.
Elder.
Thank you. Maybe to start where he touched first. The issue was, when we received this email, this letter, the communication at EXCOM, that we cannot be organized until when we have settled the debt. We requested for a meeting with the union. Or first, the two conferences met, the joint EXCOM of North and South, and we had decided at that meeting, or we agreed in that meeting, a resolution was taken where we said, look, give us payment terms, or we go and propose the payment terms, and also the other one of setting. And then the next thing that we requested was that we don't want to only meet with SAU, because SAU has told us their position. So even because they have told us, remember in the meeting, in the email, they tell that no, the issue of the debt was actually coming from the SID, which is the division. So we asked them, no, instead of us having a meeting only with SAU, we want it with SID present. Because our view was that if you meet with SAU, they will tell you what they told you in the email. And say, no, the division said we can't give you because of this. So we invited that can SAU or SID be also be part of the meeting. When the meeting took place between the two conferences and SAU, we were informed that no, it's too early for us to invite SID. Let's discuss. And then when they're discussing, they are only telling us what was in the email. We say, you see, that's what the first problem, the problem we had. We told you that invite SID because you will simply tell us what is in the email. The same thing. So what was the point of having this meeting? And then, of course, they said they would have a meeting now. They would take it to EXCOM, to the SAU EXCOM, this matter. Where some of the members of Namibia were chosen, I think, to go and make a presentation at that EXCOM. My issue is in terms of way forward. The issue of I still have a very strong that reason will prevail. We cannot suspend reasoning. And I feel at times that as a higher organization, it was operating in gear 2. They need to go to gear 3 Reasoning should prevail. You cannot just take decisions that do not even have a basis and say, I'm going to judge you on this, and that's it. So I still believe that it's still very possible that the union will go ahead. I know of blocking the remitting of the trust funds. It's a challenge in the sense that the people that have the keys to do that, these are workers of the conference. Remember, conference workers are not workers of churches. They are workers of the conference, and they report to the union. So they will definitely not be safe to stop the remitting of tithes to the organization. They will not be safe to do that. Because it will be taken against them personally that you refused. We are instructing you, do this. They refused. The one option is this matter is no longer a matter that you can handle at the level of ExCom. ExCom reports to the constituency, which is the business meeting, the ordinary church members. When it fails there, we need to take it to the ordinary church members to say, this is our problem. Let them take a decision on it. That, yes, we want to be part of this thing, whether it takes 10 years, we want to be part of SAU. If that's what they take, we should be able to live with it. That's what people say. That they are still very okay with being colonized. It's okay if they want to be colonized, and we continue that way. But it's a matter that needs to be raised at that level, and it will be unfortunate when an alternative is taken. We have been with SAU for a very long time in a very good, harmonious relationship, irrespective of what we have talked about. But we have been very submissive, we have been very cooperative under all circumstances. It will be bad to part on bad terms because someone did not look at it, or maybe did not believe that something like this can happen, because you have been under me for the rest of your life. I'm pushing 60, and since I was a child, I hoped that one day the Adventist Church will be able to run within Namibia. But if that is the thinking that, my friend, I'm still looking at being the boss of your grandchild. If that is the thinking, that we're not even talking about 60 here that you will see a union. We still have 50 years to go. It's unfortunate. And it's lack of wisdom to belittle certain things. When you should read the moment, what is the temperature on the ground? When you know, then you realize, okay, it's time to let go. What I've been doing, I think, has lived its time. We need to move on. Otherwise, you might find yourself in a very awkward position, feeling disrespected, feeling unappreciated, and all these things. And that we should not go there as a church. We should protect that from happening at all costs. But ignorance will take us there. If leadership continue to be ignorant, it will take us there eventually. So it is wiser to read the moment, read the time, read the temperature, and you would know that as a wise leader, when things get to this point, it's better to do this or that. If you decide, and the good part is the power are within you. If you decide, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to test the waters, go ahead, test the waters. You will be able to receive whatever it will be received. So, but I'm still very uncomfortable with the games that is played sometimes. To say, go and pray. Go and pray for a union status.
Before we get to that, I just want to know the season. He's saying that you should know what time it is. It's time o'clock to let go. You wanted to comment on that before we get into that. Just hold on to that thought, Elder.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's very critical. We must, it's any parent must know that my child is now of age. Even no matter how strong the father is, you should know that as time comes, your son will also have strength. The same son that you are beating at 10 cannot fix it, whether you are a boxer. Just appreciate that you had your time, and it's about time maybe just to let go. And this is exactly this. The relationship has reached a very good part of it. This is the best that we can. This is not a child who has been very rebellious. This is a child who has been very submissive to you, and he has done everything that you have told them. Why don't you just say, look, go away and shake their hands? He says, every time you need an advice, please, I'm waiting for you here. That is the best. That is the best. If only Saul could just take that as an advice. In any ways, we are still their child. We have enjoyed our relationship, but it's about time that we go and stand alone. And we'll always look up to them for advice. We will not throw them away. We'll always go back for advice. Thank you.
It's Union o'clock for Namibia. Now, coming back to the question, to the statement that you need to pray for the union.
Yes.
You mentioned that for union status, it's not a prayer point, but rather an administrative issue or point.
Yes. You go into a meeting in the morning at 9 o'clock. 9:05, you take a decision that Namibia has been granted the union status. Everybody agrees, yes, it's done. That is not something to pray for. You pray for the growth of the union. Once you have given us the growth, the union status, the growth is God. God is the one that leads to ensure that this union grows. But where you say pray, and then you go and sit on the other side, in the boardroom, and tell people that, I think this country cannot get a union status. Now, who's God? Who were we praying to? You who went and take decision. You cannot play this game where you say, pray, I have my bread, I say pray. Then I say, no, pray for bread, but I have it. That's not how it works. Union status, in terms of praying for the union growth, that we should do at all costs. We need to be on our knees. But telling people, pray for the granting of the status, which is taken on a round table full of pastors, ordained ministers sitting on the table, pray for that. Now, who should be against it among them? All of them have taken a vow to grow mission work. That is their calling. They are supposed to be the one that, we are supposed to be us that are stopping them. Please don't give us now. We are not ready. Let's go and prepare. Because they are moving ahead. Because they have faith. But now, if it's them that lacks faith, that this entity might not stand on its own, if the leaders are the ones that have faith, now where are we going? For me, it's a critical point. Let's pray for the growth of Namibia Union. But I'm not going to pray for the union status that is given in a boardroom. They should just go there in that boardroom and give us the status, and God will lead us as we grow that entity, because that's God's entity. It takes not less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes. But we are making it very difficult, that as if going to heaven is more easier than getting a union status. People want just to use it as a power game. And it's not supposed to be like that. It's a simple matter to take a decision and grant a union status. If we are mission oriented, that should have been, we would be celebrating that we are adding Namibia Union to our 2025. We should have been accepted at GC now. We should have been accepted into the sisterhood of unions. But alas, no. People still want to exercise powers, to think we have the power. Without me, you cannot go anywhere. And that should not be the case. This should be a case of humility. We are supposed to submit to what God wants us to grow mission. And that should be all collectively. Leadership and followers collectively, our mission should be to move the gospel. Not to fight over each other. Not to show muscles that it's me who takes decisions and therefore you can do nothing, because it is time that we start playing power games and admit to godly things. Christ was very intelligent. That's my view. When he answered questions, He gave very intelligible answers. But now, unfortunately, as church members, you are expected to be very stupid. Then you are a good church member. The moment you start reasoning, then you are a bad church member. You are a bad influence. You are whatever. That's not how Christ was. Christ was never a very docile. In fact, when he went into the temple, he did not say, please, can you move away nicely? Please leave these ones and help them carry the thing. He turned the tables when they were not following what God requires. He turned tables. But here, when we preach about it, we don't think, no, maybe we would have said Christ is unchristian because he turned tables. If we were going to, we need to be radical when it comes to issues of God, in the interest of God, not in our own interest. I'm not a pastor. I'm not going to be a pastor. I'm just a lay person that is interested in mission. That's all I'm interested in. I've got no interest of any kind, but all my interest, all my frustrations is mission. I'm frustrated because of mission, and I want that to move. If it's moving, you'll see me smiling with everyone, shaking their hands and feeling, yes, this is what we want. Otherwise,
thank you so much, Elder Mbita. Now, Elder Mbanga, the elder here, all he's all about is mission. He wants to see the union coming to Namibia, and he wants to see tables being turned. What will be your appeal to the masses, the church members, the church community in this regard? They are waiting for answers because so far as union is concerned, status union is concerned, they know that come 2025 August, we should be accorded that status. What is your appeal to them as we wait? Should we go praying? Or what do we do?
No, thank you so much. Look, of course, yes, as members, we are eagerly waiting for this. And I should just say my appeal to all Adventists is let's just look forward to this. The union is coming. Let us just remain positive that in 2025, Namibia will be organized into a union. That we must just remain positive, and we must just also maybe, of course, as we pray, but we must also keep our leaders, just put some kind of pressure, says, look, we need to see these things moving. We need to see these things. Let us ask for feedbacks as members. But I am very positive that we will have a union this year. And the church must just remain positive about it so that we can move forward as one goal. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your last words. I'm going to ask for your last words. If there's any point that you might have left behind, this is the time you say it. I don't know whether you're addressing the SAU or the conferences down here in Namibia or the church community, whoever you're addressing, please, this is the moment you have to say those points. Your last words.
Thank you. To my brethren home in Namibia, the only time we will come looking for us to grow the church, we'll be looking at fundraising and building our own. No one will build Namibia except ourselves. And therefore, in my opinion, I would plead with you to cooperate on the issues of building the union. We will need our resources to build our union building that is only in plans. And the issue of fundraising, yes, it can be entertained, but that is secondary. That's secondary. We need to push forward and make sure that we move together with the union. The union means more responsibility on ourselves. Union means taking care of the mission ourselves. It's more time for more commitment. It's more time for more responsibility. And as a result, we want everybody to come on board and be more responsible as we move forward. To the conferences, to the SAU, I say my only words are, let's work together. Our problem is a good one. It's a good problem because all we want is mission growth. We are fighting each other, maybe, if that is the word to use, for the same thing. What they want is mission growth. What we want is mission growth. And therefore, we need to be able to find each other, to say, in this good fight, of fighting for the same thing, how do we find each other? It is important that they look at the means. Let's be practical, the means, If we do not have the means, please don't force people that do not have the means. Let them do what they can for them to be able to repay the debt that is there. We are acknowledging it. It is there. It is accepted, and we are not denying paying it, but the way of paying it, that we are saying, please do not treat Adventism as a business. It is not a business. It's a movement waiting for the soon return of Christ. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any last words? No?
No, I have nothing.
Thank you so much. If you have just joined us, we have just concluded with our topic, our first episode on the status of the union in Namibia. I was joined by Elder Sankwasa Mubita and also by Elder Mbanga Matengu here. We are busy talking about the union. It's union o'clock in Namibia, something that many Namibians are looking forward to become a union or to be organized as a union here in Namibia. If you enjoyed this program, please, we give all the glory and honor to the Lord Almighty, and also to our panelists who joined us this day. Until next time, let me say, God bless.